The Grand Admiral stood on the command deck of the Eternal Dominion. His four eyes watched the holographic display before him. The blue planet called Earth rotated slowly in the projection. It was beautiful. It was primitive. It would soon belong to the Velthran Empire. For 300 years, the Velthran had prepared for this moment. Their intelligence agents had studied humanity from the shadows. They had watched humans fight their small wars. They had observed their primitive space programs. They had laughed at their chemical rockets and fragile space stations. The humans were children playing with dangerous toys. Grand Admiral Korthax allowed himself a moment of pride. His fleet consisted of 12,000 warships. Each vessel carried weapons that could crack planets open like eggs. His soldiers numbered in the billions. They were trained from birth for war. They knew nothing but conquest. Earth would fall within hours. Its defenders would be crushed within days. Its people would serve the Empire within weeks. The War Council gathered around the central table. 12 fleet commanders stood at attention. Their scaled faces showed eager hunger for battle. They had conquered 47 species across the galaxy. Humans would be number 48. Commander Desek stepped forward. His voice was deep and confident. He had personally overseen the final preparations. The invasion plan was perfect. 3 waves of assault craft would strike the major population centers. Orbital bombardment would eliminate military targets. Ground forces would secure the surrender of surviving governments. Simple, clean, efficient. Korthax nodded with approval. He had served the Empire for 2 centuries. He had seen countless worlds burn under Velthran fire. Earth would be no different. The humans were scattered across their small planet. They fought among themselves constantly. They had no unified defense force. They had no experience fighting alien invaders. They would collapse like all the others. The fleet began its final approach. Thousands of ships moved through the darkness of space. Their engines glowed purple against the black void. Sensors swept ahead for any sign of resistance. There was nothing, just empty space and distant stars. The humans had no idea death was coming for them. Then something strange happened. A communication officer looked up from his console. His face showed confusion. He checked his readings twice before speaking. A signal was coming from deep space. It was encoded in Velthran military frequencies. That was impossible. Only Velthran ships used those frequencies. Only Velthran technology could generate them. Korthax felt the first hint of concern. He ordered the signal to be decoded. The message appeared on the main display. It was a standard Imperial battle report, the kind sent after successful military operations. But the contents made no sense. The report claimed victory over the Velthran colony world of Thesan Prime. It listed casualties. It described the surrender of the planetary governor. It was dated 3 days ago. And it was signed by something called the United Earth Defense Force. Laughter erupted across the command deck. Several officers mocked the obvious forgery. Humans could not have attacked Thesan Prime. Thesan Prime was 40 light years from Earth. Human ships could not travel faster than light. Their technology was primitive. Everyone knew this. Korthax did not laugh. He sent an urgent message to Thesan Prime. He demanded immediate confirmation of the colony's status. The response came quickly. It was not what he expected. Thesan Prime did not respond. Neither did its orbital defense platforms. Neither did the garrison fleet stationed there. 60 million Velthran citizens had lived on that world. 20 warships had guarded its space. All of them were now silent. Another message arrived, then another, then dozens more. Reports of attacks flooded the communication systems. Velthran outposts were falling across the frontier. Mining colonies had gone dark. Military bases had stopped transmitting. An entire sector of Imperial space had simply vanished from the network. The laughter stopped. Fear replaced it. Korthax demanded answers from his intelligence officers. They had studied humanity for centuries. They had monitored every human transmission. They had infiltrated human governments. They knew everything about this species. How could the humans possibly have the technology to attack Veilthran worlds? The answer came from an unexpected source. A human transmission was intercepted. It was broadcast openly. No encryption. No attempt to hide its contents. It was a news report from Earth. A human journalist was describing military operations in what she called the Liberation Campaign. Footage showed human soldiers standing on alien worlds. Human flags flew over captured Veilthran facilities. Human warships filled the skies of conquered colonies. Korthax stared at the images in disbelief. The humans were not preparing defenses. They were not hiding in fear. They were attacking. They had been attacking for months. While the Veilthran Empire assembled its invasion fleet, the humans had launched their own offensive. More intelligence reports arrived. Each one painted a worse picture. The humans had developed faster than light travel 15 years ago. They had hidden this achievement from all observers. They had built a massive military force in secret. They had constructed shipyards in hidden locations across their solar system. They had studied the Veilthran just as the Veilthran had studied them. But the humans had learned different lessons. The humans had observed the Empire's methods. They had analyzed its weaknesses. They had identified its vulnerable supply lines. They had mapped its communication networks. They had done everything the Veilthran had done. But they had done it better. Commander Thesic pulled up tactical data. His hands trembled as he worked the controls. The main display showed the current state of Imperial territory. Red markers indicated lost colonies. Yellow markers showed systems under attack. Green markers represented secure territory. There was very little green remaining. The humans had not attacked randomly. They had struck with surgical precision. They had targeted military installations first. They had disrupted communication relays. They had captured fuel depots and shipyards. They had isolated whole sectors from Imperial support. They had done in weeks what should have taken decades. Korthax felt cold dread spreading through his body. He had underestimated these humans. Everyone had underestimated them. The Empire had seen a primitive species on a small planet. They had seen simple creatures fighting over resources and territory. They had seen prey. They had not seen predators. A new message arrived. It was addressed directly to Korthax. It came from a human admiral named Chun. The message was simple and terrifying. The human admiral knew the Veilthran invasion fleet was approaching Earth. She knew its exact composition and position. She thanked Korthax for gathering so many ships in one place. It would make the final battle much simpler. Korthax ordered his fleet to halt. He needed time to think. He needed to understand what was happening. His 12,000 ships were the largest military force ever assembled by the Empire. Surely the humans could not defeat such overwhelming power. Sensor alarms screamed across every ship. Contacts appeared throughout the fleet formation. Human vessels emerged from concealment. They had been waiting. They had predicted the exact location of the Veilthran approach. They had positioned themselves perfectly. The human ships were different from anything the Veilthran had encountered. They were smaller than Imperial warships, but far more numerous. They moved with impossible speed and coordination. They communicated through methods that Veilthran sensors could not detect. They fought as a single unified force. Battle erupted across thousands of kilometers. Energy weapons flashed through space. Missiles left trails of fire against the stars. Ships died on both sides. But the Veilthran were dying faster. Korthax watched his fleet crumble. His commanders screamed for orders. His ships burned around him. His soldiers died by the millions. And still the humans kept coming. Wave after wave of human vessels pressed the attack. They showed no mercy. They offered no terms. They fought with a fury that shocked even veteran Veilthran warriors. The Grand Admiral finally understood. The humans had never been prey. They had never been helpless primitives waiting for conquest. They had been hunters waiting for their moment. They had allowed the Empire to watch them. They had shown only weakness and division. They had hidden their true nature behind a mask of simplicity. Now the mask was gone. Korthax tried to rally his remaining forces. Half his fleet was already destroyed or disabled. His flagship was taking heavy damage. His commanders were dying one by one. The invasion of Earth had become the extinction of the Velthran military. The human admiral contacted him again. Her face appeared on his display. She was small by Velthran standards. Her skin was soft and unscaled. Her eyes held no mercy. She spoke with calm confidence. She offered terms of surrender. The Velthran forces could lay down their weapons and live, or they could continue fighting and die. Korthax considered his options. He could order a final desperate charge. He could take his fleet down fighting. He could preserve Velthran honor through glorious defeat. That was what his training demanded. That was what his culture expected. But he looked at the tactical display. He saw the scale of human forces surrounding him. He saw the reports still flooding in from across the Empire. He saw worlds falling and armies surrendering. He saw the end of everything his people had built. The humans had not simply defended their homeworld. They had conquered their would-be conquerors. They had turned the invasion back on itself. They had done it with speed and precision that defied all Velthran understanding of military science. They had proven themselves superior in every way that mattered. Korthax gave the order to surrender. His officers stared at him in shock. No Velthran Grand Admiral had ever surrendered to an enemy force. It was unthinkable. It was shameful. It was necessary. The human vessels surrounded the surviving Imperial ships. They did not destroy them. They did not slaughter the crews. They accepted the surrender with professional efficiency. Prisoners were taken. Wounded were treated. The battle ended as quickly as it had begun. Admiral Chun contacted Korthax one final time. She explained what would happen next. The Velthran Empire would continue to exist, but it would no longer threaten other species. Humanity would ensure peace across the galaxy. They had not wanted war. They had prepared for war because war was coming for them regardless. They had simply prepared better. Korthax asked one question before the communication ended. He needed to know. How had the humans achieved such technological advancement in such a short time? How had they gone from chemical rockets to faster-than-light travel in mere decades? Admiral Chum smiled. She told him the truth. Humans had been waiting for this moment since they first looked up at the stars. They had known other species existed. They had known those species might be hostile. They had built their civilization around a single principle: survive at any cost. Protect their own at any cost. They had hidden their strength because strength invited attack. They had shown weakness to learn about those who preyed on the weak. The Velthran had prepared for 300 years to conquer Earth. The humans had prepared for 300 years to conquer anyone who tried. The war ended within months. Velthran territory fell under human protection. Other conquered species were liberated. The galaxy changed forever. And throughout known space, a new saying spread among all intelligent life. Never threaten humanity. They do not wait for threats. They end them